Long ago, in a distant land surrounded by mountains and dense forests, there lived a monk named Sage Aranya. He was known far and wide, not for his words, but for his silence. For 10 long years, Aranya had taken a vow of silence. He lived in a simple hut deep in the forest, spending his days meditating, observing nature, and writing wisdom on leaves and stones. In the grand palace of the kingdom, the young King Veerasen sat restless on his throne. Though he had everything: power, wealth, admiration, he felt a deep emptiness in his heart. He asked his ministers, "What is the purpose of all this? Why do I feel lost even with everything around me?" A wise minister said, "If you truly seek an answer, Your Majesty, there is one who might help, Monk Aranya, the silent sage." The king, curious and desperate, left his palace in disguise and rode for days through forests and rivers until he reached the monk's quiet hut. The monk was seated under a banyan tree, eyes closed, face peaceful like a still lake. The king bowed and asked, "Great monk, I am the king of this land. I have everything, yet I feel lost. Tell me, what is the purpose of life?" The monk opened his eyes and said nothing. The king waited 1 hour, then another, but not a word from the monk. The monk simply pointed toward a river, then walked toward it. Curious, the king followed him. The monk cupped water in his hands, let it go, then sat in silence. The king asked again, "What are you trying to teach me?" The monk smiled, then wrote one word in the sand, "Flow." The king was puzzled. "Flow? What do you mean?" The king decided to stay for a few days. Every day, the monk showed him something simple: a flower blooming without effort, a tree shedding leaves without sorrow, a stream flowing around rocks without resistance. He finally began to understand. Life isn't about controlling everything. It's about flowing with awareness. Like the river, we must flow, but with awareness, not aimlessness. One day, the monk took the king to a nearby village. They saw a poor farmer feeding a stray dog even when he had little food. The monk handed the king a leaf with a quote, "True richness is not in what you keep, but in what you give without fear." That night, the king had a dream. In it, he was a simple man, smiling, working, sharing, and he felt peace. He finally understood what no treasure or war had ever taught him. On the last day, the monk handed the king a small mirror and whispered his only spoken words, "Look into it, not to see your face, but to see your truth." The king stared at his reflection. Not the royal robes, not the crown, but the man behind the mask. Tears rolled down his cheeks. For the first time, he saw himself clearly. His fears, desires, ego, and hidden peace. The king returned to his kingdom, but he was never the same. He ruled with compassion, patience, and wisdom. He built schools, planted forests, and helped the poor, not to be remembered, but because it was the right thing to do. As for Monk Aranya, he returned to his silence, watching the forest bloom and the rivers flow. The monk never gave answers in words, because true wisdom isn't taught, it is experienced. Sometimes silence teaches more than 1,000 books. And life teaches best when we listen. Key lessons from the silent monk. Silence is not emptiness. It is full of answers. Sometimes the deepest wisdom comes when we stop speaking and start listening. Flow like the river. Don't resist life. Move with it. Obstacles are part of the journey. Flow around them, not against them. What you give is what you truly own. Kindness, time, and love. These are the treasures that never fade. True peace is not found in power or wealth, but in stillness. Stillness is where the mind rests and the soul awakens. A flower blooms in silence. So can you. You don't need noise to grow. Your peace is your power. To know yourself, look beyond the mirror. You are not your titles, not your fears, not your past. You are awareness itself. Nature doesn't rush, yet everything is accomplished. Take your time. Your path will unfold when you are ready. The monk did not speak, because truth needs no defense. Real wisdom doesn't argue, it simply is. You don't have to escape the world to be free. You just have to stop being its prisoner. Inner freedom begins when you no longer depend on outer things. Be simple, be still, be aware. That is enough. Life becomes clear when you remove the noise. If this story brought you peace or a moment of reflection, like the video to support more spiritual tales, share it with someone who might need this wisdom today. Comment your thoughts or the lesson that touched you most, and subscribe to Monk Story Sanctuary for more soulful journeys. Remember, the journey to inner peace begins with a single story. Stay mindful, stay kind,